but I'm on the channel right now to talk about a topic that I love to talk about. That topic is boundary setting. Now, I remember back in my pushover era where I just let people walk all over me. I didn't want to set any boundaries because I didn't want to push people's buttons. Because I was thinking to myself, I'm not going to be as well liked if I set those boundaries. I'm going to make people angry. I was in my people pleasing phase, right? And I used to look at people who would set those boundaries from the jump, and they would set those boundaries like really in a really straightforward and assertive way. And I'd be like, I don't want to be that guy that is known for just being the party pooper, for being the person that everybody is like, oh, this person does not allow anything. I didn't want to be that person. Hi, Colleen. And then I wondered how people could get to that point where they could just kind of, I don't know if ruthlessly is the right word, but that's the only thing that I can think of, that they ruthlessly set their boundaries without caring about people's feelings about those boundaries. Until when I finally understood that was when my boundaries got pushed to a point that was so extreme to where I was just like, I'm now just being disrespected here. And I don't like being disrespected. So, in a case where you have let boundaries go for a very long time, it's hard to reverse the disrespect. Well, you cannot reverse the disrespect that you've already received. But what I'm trying to say is, if somebody has gotten very, 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 very comfortable disrespecting you, it's hard to take that person who you have let disrespect you for all this time and be like, I don't like that. Because when you say I don't like that, it's going to come off a certain way. It's going to come off as you being rude. It's going to come off as you being aggressive. It's going to come off as you being combative. It's going to come off as everything but what it's supposed to come across as you being, which is just being assertive and asserting your boundaries, where there's nothing actually wrong with that. But because you didn't do it for so long before, that's not the way that it's going to be seen. That's not to say that you cannot reverse something like that, but it is a hard process, and it's going to be a small percentage of people who are going to regain that respect for you and appreciate the fact that you have now established what you like and what you don't like, and what you tolerate and what you don't tolerate, right? But if you're in the very beginning of, sorry about that, I think it cut out, but if you're in the very beginning of said situation and you tell them right away, these are the things that I like, these are the things that I don't like, these are the things that I tolerate, these are the things that I won't tolerate. It's not like you can have some comprehensive list, because you can have your boundaries pushed in ways that you didn't know were going to be triggering for you until they get pushed. But I'm just saying, generally, you live on this earth long enough, you know the things that you like, you know the things you don't like, you know the things that push your buttons, and you generally know how to tell people don't do those things. So if you're that person who does that thing when you start, why are you sad, male VIP? If you're that person who does that thing from the start, has that conversation from the start, it can avoid later and more complicated conversations later, because a lot of times when you try to establish the boundaries later, you end up experiencing a lot of conflict with those people, and then eventually, a lot of times, you don't even get to keep those relationships, because it becomes such a point of contention because they're like, oh, he or she has changed. They are not the same as they used to be. And it's not necessarily that the person has changed, it's just that they allowed things to go over a long period of time to where everyone thought this is who you are and how you are. And they didn't even think that the things that they were saying or doing were bothering you because you never said them. So nowadays, I try to set up my boundaries up front. I always use the same example. Whenever I'm doing public speaking, I use one example at every speech when it comes to a boundary setting speech. And that example is people who don't like when somebody walks into their house with their shoes on, right? There's actually people who hate when you walk through their house with their shoes on, but will not tell you to take the shoes off. And then there's other people who you will take one step off of that rug and they'll be like, hey, 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 take those shoes off. Do not step on my floor. And is that annoying to hear that? Absolutely. But guess what? The reaction that they had the first time that you stepped on their rug is going to lead to one of two things. The first one is that the next time they come to your house, they're automatically going to know, okay, it's time for me to take my shoes off. Or the second thing is they're just not going to come to your house. And tell me, which one of those things do you actually consider as a loss? To me, those are two wins. Win number one, the person is not stepping all over your house with their dirty shoes on. Win number two, you don't even have to talk to them again because they don't come to your house. So it's like win-win. Hello from Russia. Oh, we got the troll comments. Luckily for you, that one is not enough, but you get one more. Hi Son Ho. I don't know how to say that, but hello. You win the longest distance award unless there's somebody else in here that has not declared that they're somewhere further than Russia. But yeah, Xvin, you get one more comment. You get one more comment before you don't get any more comments. But yeah, so now I'm definitely that person who is fine with establishing the boundaries up front, and people can think what they think immediately. I would rather, how can I say something? I don't speak Russian. I would rather let them know right away, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. This is what pushes my buttons. An example of this is what I did at my job. A lot of my jobs before the current job that I'm in right now, I sat in and allowed them to do a lot of things, and I said, you know what? I'm in my 90-day probationary period. Hey, Chocolate, you clocking in? You got the wrench. You know what to do with it. So far, there's no use for the wrench, but I'm just saying, you have the wrench for a reason, and if you don't use it, your wrench might get removed. That's all I'm saying. Chocolate is one of my worst employees, but you know, there's a grace period that I have for some reason that only applies to her. Vladimir Putin. Use the wrench. I should be home right now. The sad part is the only reason that I'm actually not home is because I had the wrong thing in my GPS. And now, hold on. I'm in Manhattan. I thought my GPS was taking me home But my GPS was taking me to Manhattan. And now here I am sitting in this stop and go traffic with a long way before I get to my house. And I'm upset about that because I had my whole schedule planned out. I was going to eat. I was going to exercise first, actually, right after I finished work. And then I was going to eat afterwards. And then I was going to watch my 2 shows, Big Brother and The Challenge. I was going to do my recaps. At this point, I can't skip the exercise because it's important to me at this moment. I'm probably going to get a late workout in. I don't know. What might have to get sacrificed, honestly, I don't know. We'll see when I get home. It depends on when I get home. But I hate Manhattan traffic. I lived in Alaska for a few years. Did you? No threats. You know the drill by now, Chocolate. You've been here for a long time. You know the drill. But you should know the threats are empty threats because obviously you still have your wrench. And I've threatened to take away your wrench almost every time you're on here and you still have it. So, you should know by now. Don't skip the exercise. Moscow has the same traffic. Hi, Cass. Yeah, so a boundary, I don't remember what I titled this, but I think that a point that I wanted to make on here, something I wanted to make very clear, is that a boundary only is going to infuriate somebody who never respected you in the first place. And that's something that I learned. I love my job here. Yeah, well, Chocolate has not talked about the travel benefits, the spa, the once a month spa day that she gets. That's the reason why she takes the abuse. It's easier to travel by metro. If I was coming out here typically at this time especially, and I was coming out here intentionally instead of just being negligent and putting the wrong thing in the GPS like an idiot, I would have taken the train. I would have taken the Long Island Railroad. $4 and I could get here in 30 minutes and I could get home in 30 minutes. But yeah, the person who gets angry about you setting a boundary is somebody who doesn't respect you. Because honestly, if you sit down with somebody who respects you, even if it's an uncomfortable conversation, and you say, hey, so-and-so, this thing that you're doing, it upsets me, it offends me. And I would like to ask you if you would please not do it anymore. That conversation should end with nothing else but, I'm sorry that I did something that offended you. And I will try my best not to do it again. And the reason I say try my best is because if it's something that they were doing for a while before, you can't just instantly reverse a habit. I mean, I've done it before, so I can't say you cannot. I will just say it's not the easiest thing in the world to just instantly reverse a bad habit that you were doing that you were unaware of before. But yeah, the conversation should really end with an apology and an earnest effort that I'm going to do better going forward. If the person gets mad, then you just know that they just didn't respect you from jump. And it's better to know that than not know that. I'm in the center of Moscow. GPS does not work at all. Hi, D. Welcome back. The gang's all here. What time is it? It is 6:52. What is this car trying to do? It is 6:52. So we got. Wait a minute. Oh no, that's next week. No, not next week. This week is the 4th, the 11th, the 18th. On the 18th, the time of Big Brother changes, from what I heard. Changes to 9 o'clock, I want to say. And I've been waiting to eat this food, man. I picked up this food. This is how crazy this is. I picked up this food in Queens. The place in Queens is probably 20 minutes from my house. And I was supposed to go 20 minutes back. I drove for longer than 20 minutes. I put my house address in the GPS, but there's so many of the same addresses in New York City. Is that a joke, Ed? That Leah kicked Quinn out of the HOH room. But yeah, that's all. That's all I got for today. That's all I got for today. I'm jumping off this thing. And I'm probably going to... Well, I'm not going to be off altogether. But probably going to throw on my Instagram Live. And then I'm probably going to throw on some music, because I got a ways to go, unfortunately. But thanks everyone for joining me. And remember, always set those boundaries. You either win or win. You either win by your boundaries not being pushed, or... Oh yeah, that's definitely a weed store. I can smell it. You either win by your boundaries not being pushed, or you win by the person who pushes your boundaries no longer being there. Always remember, and I'll talk to y'all soon.